Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Missile Industries XB Found Fairmont Hardtop project 351. Did I say hardtop? I did. Hardtop coupe, whatever your flavour. Here it is here, and when I last left off I was looking for a fuel tank for my car. Now I actually found a fuel tank on Facebook Marketplace a week before I pulled my tank out. And I gave the guy a cheeky offer and he counter-offered, and I thought to myself, I'll come back to that when I know where my fuel tank situation stands. And on Sunday, after I discovered my tank was leaking, I sent him another offer and he accepted my offer, so I arranged to come pick that tank up on Sunday afternoon. Now this tank is not 100% ideal for my XB project, but it's pretty rust free inside, and it has been modified to take the wheel well out of it, and it wasn't really suitable for the seller's use because he's got an XB coupe as well, and as far as he's concerned it doesn't have the port for the overflow for the emissions control. However, that all works back in 1974, but this is an XA tank, and he decided for roadworthy purposes he should probably go and get himself a new tank. He's much further along than I am. He's putting his interior in, he's getting ready to put the car on the road once he gets his motor sorted out. So this came up for sale and I got it for $160. It's nice and clean on the inside. The only part that's starting to rust is that big circular patch that's been welded on. Other than that, it's pretty clean. It's a damn sight tidier than my tank that's currently filled with kerosene and sitting out the back there. So I'm going to go with this tank for the time being while the car sits in the shed and doesn't do much other than move around under its own steam, hopefully. But aside from buying the tank, I have further stripped the interior. I have pulled the headliner out now this time and wound the windows down. The window regulators in the back still work. I have hoovered out about 2 kilos of rat droppings and barn dust from all the cavities. I still have the driver's door to do, but all these cavities along the bottom of the door and these cavities back here were full of rat poo, and I'm not finished cleaning yet, but I'm going to give this all a good scrubbing. There were a multitude of mud wasp nests that also were discovered and discarded, and I'm still in the process of cleaning the car up. I can't really do much welding and patching until I've cleaned all the surfaces up. I did get a bit carried away yesterday sanding down some high spots on this yellow, and once I started I kind of got into a bit of a groove. Thought to myself, because obviously it's full of nicks and divots and chips, so I'll just start sanding these sections down, and before I knew it I was back down to the primer, and I had to stop. I also sanded down the roof. The roof is full of imperfections as well, so I'm very tempted to get into that, but it's not really a priority. Right now what I really want is to fix the inside of this boot so that I can drop the tank back into it, which will mean cleaning, welding, painting, and then installing the tank, which is going to take ages. So for this episode I'm going to focus on the front end of the car because it's nice and this is the end I like to be at, and I might do some battery cables because I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a new dog on the property because our old dog passed away abruptly, and the best solution for the loss of a pet is to get a new pet. And unfortunately that means puppy training, toileting, constant puppy accidents and dramas. So my time has been sucked away on Saturday afternoons with puppy preschool, but fortunately puppy preschool is right next to Autobarn, so while I'm finishing puppy preschool, which the dog graduated from yesterday, so that's great news, I make my way past Autobarn and I pick up some bits and bobs. And yesterday I got a big long battery cable, which will hopefully go from the battery to the starter motor, and whatever part of this I don't need, I will crimp with some extra fittings to use as an earth from the motor to the body. And I've got leftover cable from my wagon project, which I'll put crimps on, and that will give me negative battery to, I think the negative goes from the battery to the motor, and then from the motor to the body, and the positive goes all the way over to the starter motor, and then all the power feeds come off that. So I'll probably make those cables up in this episode, install those, figure out how it's all going to work. I've got a cheap and cheerful battery holder. I should probably steal the battery out of the wagon so I can get this all to make sense, because obviously I want to start this car at some point, and I need cables and a wiring harness. Actually no, I don't really need a wiring harness, I just need substantial cables and an ability to power up the coil and the distributor and the starter mode, which I can all just do with switches and press button things, and kind of inside engine bay jury rig, which I'm quite capable of doing. So I just need some beefy cables to power everything up when I want to start the car. So I think I'll make those beefy cables. One more thing before I get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. I'd like to give a shout out to a guy who's building a coupe here in Queensland, I think it is, maybe central Queensland. Now I'm a subscriber to his channel because he's doing a coupe, and it's a bit of an art project coupe, Hardtop, and it's an XA, and it is magnificent to behold. He did a video which I think dropped a couple of days ago, and the opening 2 minutes alone is well worth your time to view. The car is stunning, the interior is magnificent, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the car once it's complete, because it's going to be a thing of absolute beauty in a kind of 70s art platform kind of way. But it's really nice and it's well worth checking out, and I'll put a link hopefully here, I don't know, it'll be somewhere around this point here, but it's definitely worth looking at. It looks amazing. I think I've replayed the intro to his last video at least 4 or 5 times. I even showed it to my wife, I was so impressed. He's done a really nice job, so go and check it out, it's well worth your time. It just occurs to me that if I'm going to run a cable from the battery, which is in there, to the starter motor, I should probably install the starter motor, which I have over here in this box waiting to go. I have no idea if I have any bolts that are suitable for it or not, but I'm not going to know what I need until I get under there and have a look. So I might try and install the starter motor, and then I'll know what I need to, how long the cable needs to be, and I'll get to route the cable, and hopefully this will all work. Alright, so I've run my cable down to the starter motor. The starter motor is now in. Now I just need to get this to lay in a satisfactory manner, and then cut that there, and I'll redeploy that as the segment for the earth. Let's get under the car and admire my shiny new starter motor installed. There it is. I have looped the cable around the back to keep it away from the headers. I've got plenty of length, so I've gone ahead and done that. I've put a little piece of rubber around that cable to insulate it from the possibility of rubbing itself onto the sump pan, which I will probably make an effort to be more comprehensive with once I've got all my length sorted out. Cable is zippy tied to the power steering hard lines to keep it well away from the headers, which I don't want melting my starter motor cable. Alrighty, so that went straight in with some bolts I have as extra, so hopefully that works. I won't be kicking it over because there's no oil in the motor whatsoever. So let's get that cable position sorted out. Up the top side. Yeah, there we go. Alright, earth cable is in. Now I just need to cut the negative cable so it's the right length to go up to the battery. Alright, summary time for episode 24. This is probably going to be quite a short video because what I need to do next is going to be tedious and protracted. I'm talking about the rust repairs, and every little step I take with the rust repairs is probably going to reveal even more rust repairs. So, in summary, the starter motor is installed, the high current cables to run everything have been installed. My side quest autobahn yesterday has given me exactly enough cable to get it all done. The motor is earthed to the body, and I have my autobahn battery connectors sitting in the engine bay ready to go. So that's a win for this short project that I started late on a Sunday afternoon. So until next time, take care. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? Miserable. Under the car, isn't it? It's under the car. Should I go get it? Too big. Where is it? Believe it or not, she's 8.